Seven Flights of Love is a playlist based on the ancient belief in seven heavens, of which the seventh is the utmost bliss. We have it as a proverb, I was in the seventh heaven. It goes back to ancient Mesopotamian religion. They had seven heavens. Islam has seven heavens. Judaism, Christianity. There is a reference in Corinthians by St. Paul of the author kind of getting lost in a third heaven, which is very, very intriguing and overwhelming, but also somewhere that you didn't ought to be. You ought to be going somewhere else. Hinduism also clearly has seven heavens. So it's something very deep in human thought and feeling. Even Dante's Paradiso, which has 10 heavens, is really a development by medieval scholastic theologians of this original seven heavens. They applied Ptolemy's ancient astronomy. So each of the planets is a sort of heaven. At one point, they only knew 7 planets, so they thought that was the 7 heavens, and the 7 spheres around the earth were each of those heavens. So even Dante has the 7 heavens at its basis. The generation before Dante, the Sufi master poet Hafiz, who was Meher Baba's favourite poet, is full of references to these heavens, which may be metaphorical and may be actual. He sounds like he's certainly imbibing some kind of bliss that's almost beyond the power of words to describe. Now, what I propose doing is to do a short description of each of the heavens before Gabriella sings them to you. The angel Gabriella, as she becomes when she starts taking wing with her music.
In a far land where my thoughts throng like strangers, I'm at home. Every dirt track, every silk step over marble is his own.
I was delighted when I was researching how to write the poems that Gabriella has made into the songs of this playlist, to find that I had a very reliable modern 20th century book called The Nothing and the Everything by Bao Kaljuri, who I think is transcribing the detail and the ideas, and the source author, Meher Baba, who you'll see pictured there behind his book. And there's my cat. What's reassuring is that although there's a kind of intuition about the seven heavens and a kind of the reassurance of folklore, to have as a poet it all described in the utmost detail that you can then do your work from is wonderful. When I explored it, I found all sorts of things that I kind of half remembered, that I didn't realise I knew, and had lots of those sort of experiences. And also I found other descriptions that were beyond me, and probably will remain beyond me for a long time. Nevertheless, they have the kind of ring of truth about them, certainly enough to create 7 ghazals. That's Persian love lyrics of a mystical intensity that were Meher Baba's favourite poetical form, and to deliver them to this wonderful American singer-songwriter Gabriella, to create into 7 flights of love for you. The first heaven. Now, before we can even get to this wonderful place, We have to go through every single ramification of life on Earth. The giggle of gas, the stability of stone, the mildness and might of metal, the vigour of vegetation, the wiliness of the worm out of its depth, the flowing finesse of a fish out of water, beating its scales into hard-won wings, the balance of bird, at height of career, still finding its feet, the power and the glory of the she-tiger in the cat upon the lap, thrust from its napping. The sum of all these, and its greater whole in human being. But the growing consciousness that each is a drop in the ocean compared with the love that drowns life and death. Of these, Meher Baba, for you, I sing.
The divinest new teacher has come to our school. In a swirling of stars, I eclipse every rule. As his brilliant dark look unblinds my mind's eye to his heart-piercing question, I glow like a fool. I am deaf to the end of his first lesson bell. All the bells in my heart are in tune with his call. I'm as deaf to the world as love's wonder-struck bell, swung to heaven by Krishna and dying to fall. I must hand him my pages of error and shame, with the angels a choir in my ears, high and cool. Though you're dazed by my radiance, striking its chord is his liturgy. Love is the key to it all. I am deaf to the end of his first lesson bell. All the bells in my heart are in tune with his call. I'm as deaf to the world as love's wonder-struck bell, swung to heaven by Krishna and dying to fall. To just drift through those corridors, echoing bright, where his presence has lingered, is blissful, is cruel. Loving far-sighted pupil, distracted, see me, and his laser cuts straight to my heart like a jewel. I am deaf to the end of his first lesson bell. All the bells in my heart are in tune with his call. I'm as deaf to the world as love's wonder-struck bell, swung to heaven by Krishna and dying to fall. Swung to heaven by Krishna and dying to fall.
The second heaven is a bit more remote from our everyday experience. It's the afterlife, where we go to when we die. The Hindus would explain it as the place where we go to between lives. I think the Celts also have that idea. It's unimaginably heavenly. Sounds nice. And it's an enlightenment we experience passively as ordinary dead souls in between lives, but which we master consciously as a second heaven pilgrim. Everything that we experienced in our life is experienced at kind of warp speed and intensively. The reason you have heaven and hell is because everything is what we experience in life, but intensified. And of course, we go to heaven or hell in our minds, because this is an inward journey, depending on how morally good or bad our lives have been. The second heaven.
Through 1,000 years, I've loved him more and more. Now his fresh white rose is all I'm breathing for. On a breathless trail, my nose for grossness lost. In these blazing scents, I burn to reach his core. Just to think of him unlocks our love's perfume, makes the pure light clear, and tunes me to the score. Now the dried up churchyard tree shall spring to life. This is love, he beams, which nothing can ignore. All the power from this ring I hold in hand, through the fine torn veil, my eyes are burned the more. Novice feet, this peeling kiss, this heaven's fire, and let now's fine essence linger evermore. Through 1,000 years, I've loved him more and more. Now his fresh white rose is all I'm breathing for.
The third heaven. Now again, this is something we kind of know about. There is a familiarity about it. It's the abode of the gods and angels. Olympus, or Meru, depending on whether you're talking Greek or Hindu gods. So those great unconscious and conflicting energies, that the overwhelming power that we represent as the gods, actually exists, apparently.
Gone my long reign, and its subtle vapors, shape-shifting cloud, breath of God's shadow, falling his rain, falling his rain, my own shadow, falling his rain. King of angels am I, yet angels, gods are all looking down, pray for low birth to ascend to ascend where we high spirits go, ascend. Oh, beloved, do not offer me that bliss of the gods, 330 million angels who bow. Oh, beloved, do not offer me that bliss of the gods, 330 million angels who bow. Man, yet a king, God, I return to the earth as a star, raise the standard of what men may become, the hero may become. Man and not God, my lightning contained in a blade, earthed to die there like a man, past the third heaven, so like a man. The ageless angel Saint Michael took one lifetime as a man to be God the day his body died. So let me do so, let me be low. Oh, beloved, do not offer me that bliss of the gods, 330 million angels who bow. Oh, beloved, do not offer me that bliss of the gods, 330 million angels who bow. Shipwrecked angel, flight deck sinking, high Olympus in flood, high Olympus in flood. Shipwrecked angel, flight deck sinking, aim your love on high, where the archangels would know. From Olympus, God must wing down past a harpchord in a cloud, past a dreamland to this child's play to have worth. Power over power, where even angels fear to go. I loved you in dark exile on the earth, for one smile on the earth, for one smile.
Now, the fourth heaven is a kind of crisis of the entire narrative of the seven heavens. So in one way, it's the most exciting as well as dangerous point on that scale. It always reminds me, reading this book, although it's not said there, but it reminds me of where Jesus was when he was taken up by Satan onto a very high place and shown all of the worlds and offered power over them and he declined, of course. It's also possibly, again, this is what it means to me, the place from which Lucifer fell when he was the highest angel. But there's something quite frightening about the power in this heaven. It's the battleground of love and ego, and a perilous region, because if ego wins, apparently we fall back all the way to the very beginning of the journey, the stone that I described just before the first heaven. And this is the only place where you can fall back in the entire system of creation.
Moral blitz creaks a mere shadow of my splendor, but above, more than pure wills, look of thunder, flash of lightning is our love, is our love, flash of lightning is our love. Do not once warned my beloved, try to conquer other selves. If you conquer yours, you've conquered there. The whole world in my love, the whole world in my love. In a dark night, he has left me crying blindly for his glare. In a dark night, he has left me crying blindly for his glare. Turn the hell scorch of this longing to the blaze pain of our love. Turn the hell scorch of this longing to the blaze pain of our love. Ooh, 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 ooh. On a sword edge bridge of thought deeds, to my love's wish or my own, all the power of my glory, all the sweet, sweet fire of his love, all the sweet fire of his love. In an agony of passion, I could smash worlds into dust. All my flash mind is exploding in the space void of his love, in the space void of his love. In a dark night, he has left me crying blindly for his glare. In a dark night, he has left me crying blindly for his glare. Turn the hell scorch of this longing to the blaze pain of our love. Turn the hell scorch of this longing to the blaze pain of our love. Ooh, 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 do not once warned my beloved, try to conquer other selves. If you conquer there. The whole world in my love, the whole world in my love.
The fifth heaven. A very different world. This is a world beyond the subtle power of the spirit. This is where we move into the mind itself. The inexpressible peace of a mind coming home to itself. A mind emptied of all its seductions, blind alleys and false starts and ends. The place where thoughts start, projects start with an idea in here. It's an immensely creative, powerful and unassailable resource, the mind. And this is where we enjoy it for itself. The fifth heaven.
In a far land where my thoughts throng like strangers I'm at home, every dirt track, every silk step over marble is his own. There are twin queues for his rich port, endless pulped forms left to fill. Lovers thin bribes like the beggared seek a shortcut to his dome. All unraveled in his presence, all the heavens in a thought. I am sight-struck on the soul bliss of the vision he has shown. To his doorway I'm delivered by a rickshaw-driven blind. To his candle in his still room where all thoughts fly I have flown. All this heartland made of cracked crags which his slaves heave up the hill. Every thought bloom, all this love light in my mind's eye he has sown. All unraveled in his presence, all the heavens in a thought. I am sight-drunk on the soul bliss of the vision he has shown. Were he Lord Ram, though his blood foe, for his Sita I would die. Like King Ravana's bold sister, wait an epoch for my groom. Were he Albert come to pay back all the love dues Rama owed? As Victoria for that lost groom in a grave dress I would moan. All unraveled in his presence, all the heavens in a thought. I am sight-drunk on the soul bliss of the vision he has shown. All unraveled in his presence, all the heavens in a thought. I of the vision he has shown. Humming mantra, Om and Empress of the thought world, hear his song. Do not seek, child, it's your own veil. Like a cobweb, it must be blue.
The sixth heaven, and the destination is getting very close now. The sixth heaven is what we call in kind of intuitive language the heart, feelings. It's still the mind, but the fifth heaven was thoughts, and the sixth heaven, love and longing, makes the mind soar towards complete self-mastery and the brink of its own self-extinction. So the ego is transcended in the fourth heaven, but the mind itself remains and is now being presented with its own extinction, the divine beloved at this point, but it isn't merged in the divine beloved, it remains the separate mind. It's often represented as an eye looking.
Seeing is believing, glimpsed in my youth, my lovesick master seen, now dancing, slim and strong at dawn, in shining sadra. Everywhere in everything, and endlessly I see him face to childlike mirrored face, who calls me now his Radha. No desire, energy, or thought or trial exists now, only him whom I feel and breathe and am my master. Archangelic heart to hearts, his hands as quick as feeling close, my eyes to slower world, his larks lift spirits purred out. Man hook wrecked with fastened burdens, sacrifice and service, pangs of separation borrowed. God could work no harder. Skyward straining, fractured limbed in agony, he's waving, help my darling, first the purest feeling minds unmasked. Eye to eye now reading, one not we, his feet I'm pressing, cutting curls, his silenced seed of withering joy. I garner, heart of hearts, this lonely grief, these flames of love
Finally, the seventh heaven, and this is God. We finally, in the seventh heaven, go out of our minds. Nothing has changed. Everything is. All the other heavens, not to mention hell and earth, now appear as shadows or illusions of the mind. The shadows cast behind us by the sun as we now enter like a moth into a flame. At the continual climax and resolution, this is the real climax of the narrative, but it's an endless one, a consummation that continues forever. The seventh and only real heaven.
This is God on the highest of highs through the gulf of a tomb. This is God. I'm on top of the worlds, born of mind, spirit, womb. I am not. Now the bubble has burst. There is nothing but sea. This is God. I'm as drowned in his kiss as the bud in her bloom. I'm in love. All the pain in my heart's disappeared like a dream. This is God. I am dead to the worlds and awake to my swoon. I am him now, the primal, beloved and lover are one. This is God, I've become who I journey towards and from whom. I am him now, the primal, beloved and lover are one. This is God, I've become who I journey towards and from whom. Oh, my love, he's embraced me and brought me at last to himself. This is God. Now I see there is only myself in his room. I'm the soul. There's no dark where there's light, no unknown where one knows. This is God. Little mind has been raised with its search and its gloom. Oh, my God. Oh, my God. You're beyond the beyond, but you're found on the earth. This is me, all in the flesh, this perfection, this whole.